Okay, today we're going to be making some lentil rice patties, and I made this just recently for our family. Had some left over and thought it'd make a good demonstration. So we're using 2 cups of lentils. And about 2 cups of rice. Now, like I said, I had made this before, and I kept the rice in the refrigerator. So I had to heat it up a bit because I'm using brown rice, and if it's cold, it won't have the stickiness to it. And because of that, then you can't really mix it up well. So I reconstituted it, more or less. I just put the rice into a kettle, put a little bit of water in there, and heat it up. Not a lot of water, just enough to warm it up. And then we put the rice and the lentils together. Now the recipe I got this from, or the place I got this recipe from, is from the 3ABN website. 3ABN is Three Angels Broadcasting Network. You can go to 3abn.net or .com, I think it is, or is it .org? Try one of those. Anyways, one of them will get you there. And on that page, you can look for the recipe. And you just go to recipes, and they've got oodles of recipes, like you would not believe. Lots of them are vegan, some are not, but they are vegetarian, all of them. And this one was made by Chef Mark Anthony, and he is a chef in the Adventist Church, and he makes lots of vegetarian recipes. He has a good demonstration on how to make cheese. I thought that was really good. It was a nice presentation. Anyways, so now we're going to need 1.5 cups of rice checks. Now, if you don't have them on hand, don't worry about it. You can use cornflakes. I've even used oatmeal. Whatever you have on hand, use that. I like to keep a box of these, of the rice checks here in the house. I don't usually eat rice checks anyways, but they make a nice patty when I make this. I really like the flavor. And again, we needed to crush them, so that's how I do that. Now we need about 3/4 of a cup of pecans. And if you've seen some of the other videos, you know how to do the nuts. So refer to that, and you will find out. And if you hear a bird in the background, I have a macaw bird who likes to yell. Just being a macaw. Anyways, so we're going to dump that in there. And like I said before, with that is my nut chopper. You don't have to put them in the blender if you don't want to. You can use the nut chopper and take that small bowl and put it into the freezer, and that keeps it nice for the next time you want to use it without going rancid. It keeps you from growing bugs or anything else because you don't want to store it in the cupboard if you've chopped nuts in it before, because it will give off a bad taste to the nuts the next time you go to use it, eventually anyways. Okay, so we're mixing this up. This recipe had originally called for 3 cups of rice and a cup of lentils, but I didn't like that too much because it's not enough protein. I think it was too much starch. Okay, so we're using 1 small onion here, and we're using a teaspoon of parsley and 1/2 teaspoon of Italian seasoning and a teaspoon of salt. Now you can add a little bit of water to this if it's too dry when you go to make these up. And if they're not sticking together too much, you can also use a little bit of oat flour. Now the kind of rice I used was long grain brown rice. That's what I had on hand. It calls for short grain brown rice, and short grain brown rice is stickier when it cooks, and that gives it the constitution of sticking everything together. But I didn't have that short grain brown rice, so I'm using long, and it's not quite as sticky, so I may have to use some oat flour. So mixing this up, I realized it needed just a little bit of oat flour, so I have some here, and I already added some, so we're going to add a little bit to it. Mix this up a bit. Gives it a little bit more structure, a little bit thicker. Okay. So we're going to take some and make a patty. I'm having to sit down. I have a birth defect that doesn't allow me to stand for very long. So I'm sitting down for this segment. And when you make a patty, you don't want them to be thin on the edges. You want to build it up like a wall all the way around so that they don't fall apart on you. Now, the nice thing about these, and with the other patties I had done on a previous video, the pecan patties and these, they all do very well freezing. And I go to the dollar store and buy a plastic type container. I'll show you in a minute here. And I put I put wax paper in between the layers, and I can put several layers into one of the containers and then put it in the freezer and freeze it. So if I make some of these for dinner one night and I have quite a bit of mixture still left, I can continue making them up and putting them into a container. And then one of those nights when I happen to be gone, or I'm rushing home having to make dinner and I don't know what to make and I've got to do it in a hurry, I can pull out a container of patties, and it works very well. You just take them out and put them on a dish, put them in the microwave and zap them and make a vegetable. I can have dinner ready in about 15 to 20 minutes, so that's not bad at all. This is a container like I use. I can put 2 side by side in here and then put a layer of wax paper and then layer them all up, and I can get, I don't know, maybe 8 or 10 in this container. Some stores have the big containers, some don't. I've noticed some of them are shorter and smaller. I like the big ones, but whatever you can find, it makes it nice. It makes it easier to be able to use to have something on hand for one of those nights when you need something quick and easy. Now you don't want to make these real thick. Anyways, like I said, build up a wall around on the edges and they'll stick together better. And we'll just put that in there like that. And I'm using coconut oil. You can use olive, you can use coconut oil. I don't use canola oil. Canola oil is not that good for us. If you were to look that up, most recipes will call for canola oil, and I don't believe in using it. But you can look it up as to what's wrong with it and see for yourself. Anyways, so when you're cooking with electric like this one, you have to remember to turn the patties around because the center is hot of the skillet, but on the edges, on the outside edges, it's not. So you have to turn them to brown them. Another way of cooking these is that you can put them on a cookie sheet. Put a parchment paper down or spray oil it and put patties all the way down the cookie sheet, put them in the oven and cook them for about, maybe 15-20 minutes on each side. And when they start to brown, and you can spray the tops of them with some oil, so that'll keep them moist, and then flip them and cook for another 15 minutes or so, or 10 minutes at about 350 degrees. And that way you get quite a bit of patties done at one time. And because it is rice, it will pop. That's just the nature of the beast, as they say. So we finished our patties. These are the lentil rice patties, and you can put a gravy on them. This is a country style gravy. You will see in one of the segments. And put that with a baked potato or rice or mashed potatoes. And then a vegetable and or green salad. That'd be wonderful. I'm going to show you some vegetables here. This is broccoli. Makes for a nice dinner. So, enjoy.